Good morning, everybody. My name is Ryan Persadie, or Tifa Wine right now. I'm a cultural ambassador with the Caribbean Equality Project in Toronto, and I'm also a PhD student in the Women Gender Studies Institute at the University of Toronto. So we're just going to welcome you onto the space, and then we'll get going. So before we get started, welcome to Breaking Silences Toronto. Before we begin, we'd like to provide an acknowledgement to the land in which we are situated on right now. We wish to acknowledge this land in which we're currently situated. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land.
Silence. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It's not just when the ear tightens with stillness. It's not just what happens when a room goes mute. But it is also the absence of conversation. It is what happens when we fail to, or we can't, give voice to our truth. This symposium, designed around breaking silences, is the culmination of a couple of days of very, very frantic running around, a few weeks of coordination, months of hard work and seemingly endless conversations, and many, many years of agitation and oppression and triumphs and organizing that our communities have endured.
Caribbean people throughout its diaspora share a rich history, a uniquely charming cultural landscape, and a pride that is almost impossible to ignore. Yet, amidst all of this, we are also currently faced many divisions, tensions, and obstructions in political, social, cultural, and diasporic realms as a result of violent arrivals in the Caribbean, projects of genocide, enslavement, indentureship, and other colonial activations of oppression, and ensuing legacies of trauma, violence, and subjugation that have brought on further enmities between varying communities that carry a rootedness to the region and its diasporas.
This year's Breaking Silences Symposium is an extension and a reboot of a 2016 forum in New York that aimed to acknowledge the lives and experiences of LGBTQ plus people of color living and working in New York City, and to connect them with essential information and resources, and most importantly, to build community.
Our project in Toronto initially began as a conversation between myself and many of the community members of the Caribbean Equality Project a year ago to construct a space that would bring together numerous queer Caribbean identities, communities, narratives, experiences, and issues, and investigate the multiplicities of the region and its diasporas. The idea for this conference was proposed out of the acknowledgement of the many tensions, hierarchies, and divisions that have crossed transnational and transoceanic boundaries into queer diasporas. In particular, we were motivated to create a space of dialogue and meaningful conversation that would bring queer, Afro, and Indo-Caribbean communities together. Through my own research as a graduate student in Toronto, I found that often queer advocacy and organizing in the city was structured around Afro-diasporic community or South Asian community, with very little merging of the two. With Breaking Silences, we would like to begin to fill this gap in Toronto. I came into contact with the Caribbean Equality Project in New York City in pursuit of organizations that were formulated on this Indo-Afro reciprocal recognition.
And it is this politics of recognition that is central to the mission of Caribbean Equality Project. We look at the people often ignored in political mobilization. Those of us that occupy the interstices of queer liberatory politics, of pro-immigrant agitation, and the ongoing movement to dismantle white supremacy. Through it all, the work of CEP is grounded in community building, in healing divisions and in encouraging conversation. That is the same work that many of you in the audience and on our panel have been doing here in Toronto. It is our honor to be here to uplift that work and to engage in solidarity between two diasporas around work that is sadly still so very much needed.
The goal goal of today's proceedings will be to foster critical conversations related to queer Caribbean histories, ontologies, narratives, experiences, tensions, and futures, as well as is driven to construct healing spaces of dialogue, unity, and togetherness through presentation, storytelling, film, panel discussion, and workshops. We would like to graciously acknowledge all of the panelists and all of the positionalities, including researchers, activists, academics, artists, and performers who have taken time to contribute to the meaningful conversations that will take place here today. We would also like to thank all of our generous sponsors, with a special thank you issued to Sean Doblin, Steph Raposo, and the rest of the staff of Buddies of Bad Times Theatre, who donated this wonderful space we are in right now.
On behalf of the Breaking Silences Conference Committee, it is our humble privilege to welcome all of you to a day of learning, meaningful conversation, and community building. Our conference coincides with the historic landmark of advancement of LGBTQ plus rights in the Caribbean. Over the last 2 years, a certain individual by the name of Jason Jones challenged sections 13 and 16 of the Sexual Offences Act in Trinidad and Tobago. In April of this year, these colonial buggery laws were deemed unconstitutional, with a decision being made final 2 days ago. With that, we would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Jason Jones, and welcome him to the stage.